Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to Trade Setup in the live stream for the 29th of November. Hope we're all doing well today, having a good day. The topic for discussion today, we're going to change of pace. We're going to go to some large caps. We're going to take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, we've named it today. So we'll take a look at a few that look quite good, and we're associated with obviously the dividends and what we sort of look for in those bigger stocks. And we're going to go through, rather than look at the shorter term, well, the daily charts and lower, we're going to look at mainly go through some weekly charts and show what we see as having potential. All right, and what obviously doesn't, and what's struggling a bit at the moment. So we'll go through all that today. But just to kick it off, we've got our obviously disclaimer in front of us, a general advice warning. And we've got our new website for you, for the new ones that don't know, and anyone that's going to look at this later on, feel free to take a look at Trade Setup website. And we've got our returns of, I think it's just over a year now to date. You can just click on that. You can take you to the returns page, and then you can click on the other one and claim your 5-day free trial, and you'll see all the live alerts coming through for those 5 days or the week of trading, and just see how it goes. You can download that from the App Store, Apple App Store, or Google Play. You can just see down here. All right, so let's get into it. Let's take a look now at the markets overnight. So I hope you like my little Clint Eastwood picture. He's quite cool, old Clinty boy. So I think it gives us a good topic of discussion. I hope they don't turn out as ugly as he does. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's just take a look at some of the ASX stock, how the market went overnight. Just a bit of a recap. Let's just go through now. We can see the charts. Good. No worries. So this here, we start off with the ASX 200. It's only a half an hour chart there. It's pretty much range band at the moment, but it's starting to look like it's holding at 5480, where it broke out previously. You can see that uptrend. It's just popped through that 5500. Even on the ASX, just popped its head through there, and it's just been sold off. We may see a bit of contraction off that level as we broke through that. It was getting a bit extended into 5500, obviously, on the chart. So it looked like to keep going through, it takes a bit of steam, a bit of energy. And I think there would have been a few buys that need to be put on the sideline. So I think it's just going through the motions of washing a few people out, and we'll just see if this pullback can hold sort of these highs, contract a bit, and show some consolidation and build some high lows for another push up through 55 and just continuation on the longer term anyway. But yeah, the intraday chart at the moment, not a lot of action, as you can see just in here. It did open and spike lower just through take out a few of these lows, and then it's just popped its way back up to that high at 54, say 75, 76 zone. It looked like it could roll over there. It's touched that a few times now, a couple of times. What was that, yesterday day, and then overnight? Was that yesterday morning? That was early hours in the morning, sorry. So we closed somewhere out here at 4 o'clock. So we closed somewhere around here, 54.74. So we're just back to where we closed yesterday. But yeah, it looks like it's got, if we start building, push down, come roll back up and make that lower high like this type of scenario, below somewhere around say 54.70 or just below. If we do that, we'd expect to start rolling over and attacking these lows and maybe taking right down here to 54.45. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously later on today into the close and tonight. Let's click over to the Aussie dollar. Anyone traded currencies, by the way? Anyone sort of dabble in the currencies, or mainly just the stocks people look through? I know I've done a bit in the past. Davin's done a bit in the past also. Always good to know. I mean, you're always applying the same type of price structure, the same type of theory on technicals to the currencies as well. They have a few different minor intricacies, but apart from those, price structures, you're looking for the same patterns, same setups, the way we attack it anyway. So we got the Aussie is obviously pushing down. Not much change overnight. It's still just contracting from that leg, that strong push down from 77.50 down to 73.15, say those lows. That nice strong move down. It's just contracting a bit, and it has looked like it's broken that leg, that trend down. So if it's just holding some high lows, we may be pushing up. It'd be interesting to see if we just drop it down a couple of time frames. Sort of 4 hourly. Yeah, you can see a good strong leg down. You got to contract some of that. So if we can build some lower highs in here, maybe we're popping up to that, find a bit of resistance up towards 75.20. thereabouts, and then start rolling over from there. But again, the key is it's holding higher lows on the shorter time frame charts. You want to be buying. If it's not, if it's just starting to get a bit extended and starting to touch up and touch up at that resistance level at 75.20 and just struggling, look for the lower highs to take us back down and maybe retest some of these lows down here. We could be heading down to 73.62, even to retest the low at 73.15. We'll see how that plays out. I think it's just more than like that's just been on the back of some US dollar profit taking and it's a bit of a sell off there. Seeing zinc up 73% this year. All right, we'll take a look at those later on. Let me just write those down before I forget. IBG VR. It rings a bell, that. All right, let's just click over to spot gold. Everyone likes to look at gold a bit. We can see that trend down is still holding. Key level just at the moment is 1220 after it broke down through 1200. We are just contracting back into 1200 at the moment. Whether it's just contraction and we're going to build that lower high where this lower high holds. You can see that contraction back up. Not fairly positive move. We might get something like this, the lower high build somewhere in here. Had a bit of a crack up at 1197, just nearly touched 1200. If this builds a lower high and we take out this low here at 1183, you'd expect to wash back down to 1170, thereabouts, even a new low. It is, you can see it's getting extended into that 1200 zone as well. So, and this is an hourly chart. I mean, it could just bounce around in here, or it could just pull back, so retest some of these levels, make that major more of a longer term high or low, and then work its way back up again. We'll have to see how that plays out. All right. Any questions just on that, or any other, just before we flick over to the topic of the day? Just check the emails. Okay, nothing through just at the moment. That's good. All right. So we want to take a look at the large cap stocks today, because I know obviously there's a bit of interest in those. We sort of concern ourselves more with the lower end, something obviously tradable with a bit of liquidity, enough liquidity, but not too much that's going to crimp the moves. That's what we normally focus on. So we like those ones that can move, give a good return. We're looking at the larger caps today. I've got a list of the top 20, just been going through, and a few others. So out of the top 50, and I think playing these, it's a good play for dividends too. The way we would look at them, if I can just get, let's just get something up here. All right, the way I'd like to play them, this is James Hardy, this is something we're looking at anyway. You can see for dividends, I don't know what they're paying. Let me just check if they're dividends only 2.5, 3%, 2.5%, thereabouts. If you're looking at a play for dividends, the way we would try to attack it is, I like working off the weekly charts. You can see it's pretty clear what's happening on that chart. Price is going up. We're holding higher lows. Starting off $11, another one around that $15 mark, and potentially this is another high low around $18. You want to be obviously buying into the high low with those, and just taking advantage of price appreciation as well. And the key thing we sort of look at is the MAs. You'd like to enter into a good zone. You can see, if you can mark that one. Actually, let's just quickly draw that up. Let's get into it then. Just as an example, what we look for. Go to the weekly chart. You can see the monthly. Obviously, that's clear. It's had a push up to 10, pull back, made a lower high, then build that major high low of $5, which it's worked its way up. It's been about $5. It's just been working its way up over since 2011. So that looks good. If we go into the weekly, which we like, you can obviously, the MAs are up. We're building off those higher lows. Let's get our sketch. MLX. Yeah, Brian, I'll just have a bit of a chat about that if you want later on. I'm not exactly sure, demerger, I can't remember what the other stock was. But yeah, it's not, I mean, technically, obviously, it's different, but you've just got to look at what what's happening in that, whether you buy that or not. It is getting a bit volatile. Have a look at that earlier on. It's a bit volatile at the moment, so that is MLX anyway. If anyone's seen that. So we've got James Hardy at $5 market. So you can see that that trend has been up, contraction there, holding higher lows. It's only a minor one here. Another major higher low after some good contraction, lower highs, lower lows. Built a higher low just in here, and potentially that would be a nice little entry looking for attacking that high there. Then you've got another leg up, again contraction. It's only really a minor high low. You can probably see that just in here. I had that bit of a wash down to just 1450 zone, pushed back up, built that little high low. It's only in over a period of a week, and it's pushed up since there. Another leg up. So what we're doing now in the process of just making some only minor process, some lower highs, lower lows, and it looks like we've just bounced off that 18 quite strong the last few weeks. It's been steady. So following that one, if you're looking at a dividend play on that, I think that's quite a good one. You've got your MAs pointing up, which we like. You've had that contraction in price, holding a higher low here, potentially another higher low. If you can drill it down onto a daily chart to give you, just to refine your entries, it is getting back up to 21, sort of that zone there. I'd like to see a bit of a pullback, build that high low, and then go on the weekly basis. Yeah, that's a nice one. So that's the way we would like to attack these big ones, mainly off the weekly charts than anything. Not playing it so much for appreciation and price, but you've got the dividends, good dividend paying stocks that way, and just trying to get the MAs moving higher. Sorry, I don't know what that was there. So we'll go through a few good ones. We've got, let's get my other chart up here. We've got ASX. All right, we can see that there. That's a daily. Let's just click it over to the weekly. Might need a bit more data there. So we can see then, again, looking at the weekly, you've got factors are falling into place for us. I think ASX, let me just see. I can never remember the dividends on them. That one's that's 4.114%, so that's not too bad. If you're playing it for that, obviously there's a few factors we like. It's playing into your hands there. We've got a high as a potential target for just pure price appreciation. Nice little target right up sort of the $60 area. You've had a nice base building around that $28. You're holding higher lows. You've got a higher low just in here. It has initial that push up off the 28 zone. It had a bit of a pullback. Only built a minor level in here, consolidated through here, and you're holding these high lows. Another good sharp push up, bit of a contraction back, holding another high low. So it's showing some nice price structure for what we like to see. And again, we're getting that price action. If that is building a potential another higher low just in here, we'd like to see some sort of setup. If we can get, good, again, just going off the same setups, your high lows building, some buyers starting to step in at higher prices, and then you're getting potentially another leg up, which could take us right up into that $60 zone. Don't know just yet, but that's what we'd like to see. Okay. So that's another one. Obviously, ASX looking good. It's coming off a good zone. Yeah, that contraction back lower, you can see the stochastics got back down to oversold. So it got a bit stretched, holding higher prices. So obviously buyers are happy to step in well above this high low at 36.50 zone. Happy to step in, buying it longer term, holding it, and we probably could be the next leg, I'd say, would be taking us up towards that $60 mark. It's obviously going to take a bit of time, but so far so good. It's looking good. Another one we like, let's see if we can get up on this chart here, AGL. So we're at the good at the moment. I haven't got to the bad or the ugly. Just click over to AGL. All right. AGL is slightly different. Obviously, glancing at that, if you just took a quick look at that and you're trying to build your trade around that, again, first things first, we'll look at the dividends. AGL paying or thereabouts. They're up at 3.6%. Okay, so if you can take advantage of that and price, obviously, I mean, the last thing you want to do is something buy into something because it's got a good dividend when it's heading down, because whatever you could be losing on the dividend, then you have to sit and hold it for quite a while. So that's something you don't. I mean, if you can get something that's a really good dividend paying stock that's heading down, it sort of negates what you've made on the dividends on price depreciation. So you ideally want to, look for price structure that's it's working up. It's pretty clear what it's doing on the weekly charts, and drilling down to your dailies for refining those entries, and just trying to take advantage of your dividends and the price appreciation at the same time. I guess it's pretty obvious, but sometimes it's just a bit hard to find those. Not hard, but you get a bit carried away. I know I can carried away as good dividend paying stock, and I've heard people getting carried away with that. I'd much rather just giving up a bit on the dividend for some price too, just to make sure that my price is stable, or at least moving in the right direction. So this one, obviously, AGL, pretty clear. You've had that, price pushing out of that zone. Just extend that a bit. That zone, say around 1550 and 1250 thereabouts. You can see it's spending a fair bit of time in that zone. What was that? About 2010, 2011. Was it 2012? 2012, sorry. 2012 till end of 2014, sort of bouncing around that zone, just consolidating, spending quite a bit of time, and then pushed up. Once you got that breakthrough, you had that retest of that zone. If you could jump in there, buy that, you're looking for that good not acceleration high, but just that a nice strong leg up. Spent quite a bit of time consolidating in there as well. Problem with this one, just at the moment. All right, guys, sorry about that. I just realised I just looked up and saw Clement's comment. So much for the new headset. It just tends to, I don't know if it runs out of steam too quick or just it's a Bluetooth, so whether it just drops out and then lo and behold, I'm chatting away to myself. But I hope you can all hear me now, and we're back on board. I can't remember where I dropped out, so if someone could, if you just let me know roughly. I know we were talking about AGL as opposed to ASX, and just the minor differences in the two. Which is, I guess we recap that quickly. We've got ASX is actually heading up, and we're more, you've had a leg up, and we're heading, in my opinion, we're heading to a buy zone. So whether we continue down, but it's coming to that zone, which is, if we can just draw that up, into, if anyone can see it's pretty bad actually. Understand what I'm saying there? It's heading into that buy zone on it. So if we get that type of price structure, it's looking good. It's looking to continue that weekly trend higher. MAs are still up, so everything's pointing in the right direction with ASX. It looks good before you draw the yellow lines. All right. But this one here, it's had a good sharp drop, and it's taken out a leg. It's taken out support level at 1789 on AGL, and it did bounce back quite hard, and you can see that it got stretched down there as well, below, getting to oversold territory below 20 on the stochastics. Did bounce back hard and fast too. I mean, that's quite a good solid bounce back. It'd be interesting to see what happens from here. A lot of our plays, we've got a large consolidation through there and a good strong leg up. It'd be interesting to see. We've got those factors in place. Obviously, MA is pointing higher, but we are stretched on that leg up. So I would be looking just down to the daily to see how we go from here. Whether we get that, like I just drew up, which you probably didn't hear. That type of price structure, high lows holding. If we just break straight through those highs at 20, say 21 even, build a high low, I'd be reluctant to jump on board that one because the way I'd view it is a bit late into the trend. We're getting stretched. You can see I'd rather see some sort of pullback, high lows build, price structure like that rather than just a straight breakthrough, because we could break through, wash out, wouldn't buy on the break ever. And if I miss the boat, so be it, go to something else. But yeah, that's the differences in those two. Let's look at James Harden we just looked at previously. See if we can draw that up. I don't mind that one either. Just bear with me a tick. So James Hardy, I'm getting that it's obviously, you can see that trend's higher. We're doing well. We've come out of this zone through here. Just draw that up quickly. Yeah, spent a fair bit of time, made some lows here, bounce back, build that high low. That's really nice price action. Would have been nice as you get through those highs, trading somewhere in this zone. You can see just some minor levels through here on the weekly. You're building some higher lows through here. That would have been a nice entry. You got a leg up, contraction lower, high lows building. You can just see the same sort of repetitive price pattern. Contraction lower. Again, this is the high low we're discussing previously. Another leg up. So what it'd be interesting to see if we've just broken out of that, what I'd like to see, because it's just tending, if you head down to the daily chart, it's probably a bit stretched just at these levels, just at this sort of minor resistance level here. If we can pull back and again just build that higher low, then I think that'd be a nice little one. What did we say they're paying, about 2%? I think it was thereabouts. 2.5% on divs. But yeah, you're getting those factors in play working to your favour. So if you're looking at for some sort of dividend play, you want appreciation, sort of like the wind in your sails, holding the trend. You're looking to try to get into that good zone and then just play it for there. Look for that appreciation over the next few weeks to few months and so on. This one's looking quite good as well. Let's go down to, just flick over for a few more. We'll draw those up as we go. Weekly. Alright, just a few more we're going through. I think this is Sun, SUN, Suncorp Group. They're looking towards the same, we've had that push up, if you can see the far left hand side of the chart. Yep, push up, consolidated across, held some high lows, had a new leg up, contracted slightly, another leg up, and we look like we're in major contraction at the moment. So this one, again, MAs are pointing down, so it's not good, it's not looking ugly, but I think there's potential for this one. If we can seem to hold some high lows there, you get this contraction lower starting to break. You can see some evidence of buyers stepping in, even if you have to go down to a daily chart. Not much evidence just yet. You can see those high lows around that 1160 mark is holding. We've popped back up to 1260, but I think a bit more work to do on this one. But definitely, if we can just see what they're paying. So they're not a bad dividend, 5.6%. So that's looking okay. All right, so you've got a few good factors. Obviously, dividends are looking all right. You want to see it coming out of contraction, holding some higher lows, which potentially it could be doing on the longer term. I think obviously a lot of work to do still. But if it's holding a higher low around that 1150 mark, you want to see it slightly more contraction. Drill down to the daily, and you're trying to take advantage of that next leg up, next weekly leg up out of that weekly contraction. So again, same type of thing. All right, let's look at another one. It didn't work out well. AMC, longer term trends higher, weekly trend, the MAs are still up. You're getting that contraction at the moment. We're starting to look, it could be running out of steam. Don't know, it could just be contracting a bit like this type of price action, wash out those lows and then pop up. Would have been nicer. You could see some longer term contraction. I'd rather see a bigger base, it's more work played in, more sellers washed out, because this it has been going up for quite a while too. If you go back down to the monthly, you can see, yeah, the start of 2009 had a good trend higher on AMC. But yeah, it's starting to show on the side. I mean, there's a few things working in our favour. Just want to drill down to see what's happening on the daily, see if we can build that high low at the moment. It's not looking too fancy for me, so still quite a bit of work to do. Probably doesn't fall in the category of good. Not so much ugly. Maybe tending towards the bad, I guess. Let's just click over to Macquarie Group. The MA has just had a good, you can see this type of price action here. It's getting up towards the highs, and it is starting to get extended into those highs at 85. It has held higher lows most of this year on the weekly chart. It's just be interesting to see how it could do up here. You can see that big washout lower down to 72.5. I think that was over obviously the election, maybe. Actually, yeah, I think it was over the election. Good washout there. It's still, in context of this move up for most of the year, it's been holding higher lows. Just getting into that region now where it may find a bit of resistance. It's got to be some really strong buying to push it up through here, but it's done a fair bit of work on the longer term time frame. Again, not the good. The trend's a bit harder to see in this one. You can see the MAs roll over and they've rolled back up again, so we could be seeing a longer term double top and then a longer term contraction, potentially that monthly. Get that double top, could roll over, take out this low at 60, who knows. It's just not looking as good as, say, ASX and AGL at the moment. Just go through, we've talked about the banks previously. They are, well, this is not the bank, this is BXB Brambles. It's looking a bit the same. You can see the trend. Get rid of the volume, you don't really need to know the volume. Just glancing at that, obviously the MAs are up a bit. It does a bit, price action slightly different to what we've seen. It's not as clean as, say, ASX was, or AGL. But you can see those moves up. You get contraction lower, holding another high low. It's had another leg up, potentially contracting now. So we want to see evidence, go down to the daily and see evidence. It's not at the moment. That daily trend is still down. You want to see those MAs roll back up again and take advantage of that weekly trend higher. Build some high lows, and then that could have the potential to push up as well, and take advantage of that next leg up. What are they paying? BXB just going through 3%. Okay, that's probably mid-range, I guess. Let's get rid of that. Come on, there we go. Go through quickly. Telstra, we're starting to get into the ugly in our opinion. Telstra, you can see, okay, right from the far left, had a good push up, $9. Spent a lot of time just contracting lower. It's got down to end of 2010, start of 2011, right down to 250 thereabouts, and it's pushed up off that level up to 675. At the moment, we look like we're contracting. So this is on a monthly basis. So if it's got a lot of work to do, this could still roll over further. If you drill it down to, and you can see that stochastics are heading back down to oversold, so it could still be doing a lot of work. It's not looking good. So this is one potentially, if you for instance, if I jumped in and bought this one, I'm not seeing the signs on the weekly that it's rolling back up again. The MAs are heading south. You've had that push down, the contraction back up. Can't attack those highs. That's not strong price action for a move higher, and it's had a good leg down. So spent a lot of time contracting higher up to 580, 590 zone. Headed south. It's got down to, what was those lows? Low 470. Couple of weeks it's spent heading higher, just holding above that $5 at the moment. In terms of daily, still holding high, lower highs. You can see 520 is probably the key level at the moment. It's pushed down, bounced back up, so we might just be retracing some of that move down, building that lower high, and then rolling over and attacking 470. We don't know at the moment. It's stretched on the daily, obviously, so the daily is not showing signs of that longer term trend abating, just that contraction at least. If that's contraction, we don't know how far it's going, we don't know where it's going. So that's on when you're looking for, Telstra, I think they pay a good dividend, don't they? 6%, so not a bad dividend, obviously. But the price is not really, it's not showing me signs of wanting to get in. I mean, we don't know where it's going on the weekly. If I jump in, grab the divs, I'll hold it for a dividend play, and then I'm losing on the stock price. I don't want that. I want to be the stock price working for me, trend higher. So that's not falling under the good category. Let's look at something else. Just quickly look at a few others, and then we'll move over to some other charts. Wow. Again, ugly. I mean, it's pretty clear on that one too. It's had a good solid move down. Monthly chart, look at that monthly. It's just built that base, pushed up to new highs, 38, bang, straight through. So again, Woolworths having some problems, obviously. Again, falls in the category. Even the MA is nothing working in our favour at the moment. Let's click over to Woodside. We've spoken about oil previously. If you just pull back to the monthly, just to get a bigger, longer term, you get that move up, and this is long term contraction. It's pushed through a few key levels. $30 was a key level. It's just popped back up there again. On the monthly basis, I mean, if we do get into that extended zone, it'd be interesting to see if we can get up to 32.5, or we're still struggling to take out some highs. If we drill it down to the weekly, we've got some key levels up near 37. So this is just contractive price action. It's not where it's built a base. It's still, you can see the same type of price action through here. Held that $30, contracted off it up to 44, and then just toppled over and took out 30. We could just be contracting. We could be contracting back up to 36, 35. We don't know. But again, looking at our rules, the MAs are starting to cross up, but that's not looking pretty. I wouldn't say that's it's anywhere near good. It's more ugly. All right. Anything else someone would just have a quick look at? Some of these the bigger ones. Chuck in a code before we finish up there. I'll just click over to APA. Now that one again, although that longer term, if you click over the monthly, longer term's up, it's got that double top to contend with. You had that. If you drill it down to the weekly, we're coming off oversold, obviously, but there's nothing to say that trend, when you're contending, you're pushing up against a double top, that to me is going to contract all that leg up right from 2009. What do they actually pay? Let's just click on that. 5.3%, so not bad. But the problem is, it's the price structure that I don't like. I mean, if you bought it here and you've got to hold it for the dividend, you could easily roll over and attack 725 and make some new lows. And that's really just spending time contracting off those highs at 975. All right. So we'll finish it there for the discussion. Anything, we've got a couple we're going to look at. Got some zinc ones, IBG and RVR. Bill, we'll take a look at those. And anything else anyone wants to just take a quick look at, just whack it into chat. If you've got a chart, I mean, if you feel like sending through a chart just to analyze on the way you're viewing it, feel free. It's up to you. Just send it through to support@tradesetup.com.au. All right, let's just go through some of the others now. Let's just take a look at, what is it, IBG. So this is a technical view on this one only. Alright, so it's had a big, just looking at that, I mean, it's holding that. Let's just draw it. Probably go to the weekly actually. Alright, so we've got obviously highs up towards that 110, 15 zone. Big spike up through there, but you can see that the type of price action we're contending with, a big move up, reaction off those highs, obviously profit taking, a big spike up again and just punch through it and then just roll over from there. and we got down to sort of those 5 cent mark. So it's been just teetering on that 5 cent mark. Problem is, it's still making on that longer term weekly, it's still making the lower highs into that zone, and we could be at that point of just making another lower high. We don't know. The only thing, well, obviously, if you mark it up like that, it looks like it could be pushing off there. So the thing is, where after where it's been at $1.15, there's a lot of room to move on the upside. Obviously, not much on the downside, obviously. So if you can structure a trade off that zone, I wouldn't mind seeing something through 15 cents. So a pop up through there, just wash out some of those previous lower highs. If we drill it down to a daily, just get some more price action. All right. So we've got that 5 cent. What is that through here? You can see, so we're getting through 5 cents. I think it's just making a new low, but really not by much at all. And it's just pushed up off those zones, making some high lows, holding some high lows at the moment. I think the key level, if that was off the weekly, of 13.5. What's that? That's the level there. Highs of 14. Okay. So we've got a key level up there. Once we started, I mean, you can easily buy it here, and you can push up to that zone, or it could just roll over from here and hold that weekly trend lower. It's getting a bit extended. You can see on the stochastics. Nothing to say it can't keep going up, but you can see that at price action today, even down 4.5% today, it's had that accelerated move up, and it's spent a lot of time just through here. You can see, if we can box that up a bit, actually, I can probably draw a box. Just go back. You can see that time it's just spent through here. Consolidating had an accelerated move up, so after accelerated move, and you can see that it's getting a bit extended. There's a few things working against it at the moment. May just contract, may make that lower high and just contract lower back down to, it could hold this support up, and then you want to be looking for that entry. Just viewing at that at the moment. So I think there's still a bit of work to do on this one here, but just considering on the weekly it's coming from that 5 cent mark, really lows compared to where it's been. So like we said, if you can get up here, I think this one you keep an eye on for sure. Pushing up here might obviously find a resistance. You could still get that pop up towards 13.5, and then wash that out and find some good selling, good strong selling as a stellar step in, profit taking for anyone that's bought it in this zone here, or even off these lows around 4.5, 5. I'd say to buy in here, I'd personally be a bit concerned looking at that most recent price action. So generally you get something like that, if it's going to get a bit of selling, you tend to, especially you see that lower high, you tend to get these types of moves, contracting back in, and then once you'll be looking for some high lows to start building as buyers start to step in. And if they're stepping in around 8.5 as it touches down support, great. Then look to see if you can ride a new leg up to 13 to 14, even through that. But bit early stages at the moment on that one, by the looks of it. RVR, let's just go over to that. That structure on this one's looking better. Just even clicking over to the monthly, if you can see that, you can see how it's had obviously that push up. So you're just going backtrack a bit. It's pushed down, made some new lows, but spent a lot of time just working through there. It's around that 2.5 cents, 2 to 2.5. Obviously on the back of some good news, I'd say, through 2014, a good strong push up. Took out those recent high at around 23, 4, I think it was. Highs at 24.5, just mid 2014. Then it's pulled back, had a good solid pullback. But you can see through here, it's touched down at say 7.5 was a low there, low at 8, low at 8.3, so around 8. So it's touched down there twice, and it's just taken out this high at 23 previously, probably a few months ago. So going to the week, you can see that price action is starting to look good. It's starting to build. Buyers are stepping in. It's holding a major high low at 10, so give or take off 10. We just go to a daily. See if we can just take more of this price action here. Yep. We'll quickly draw that one up. So just remembering what the longer term price action is doing, and just remembering this is a high low in context, around 10, so well, say through this zone here, 8 to 10, build that high low in context to say that major base at 2 to 2.5 cents. You're attacking, you can see through here, you're attacking this high, taking out that high with that push up to here, out to 28 cents, come back and it's making more of another higher low. It's holding trend, higher low here. I think it's got a bit of work to do. I'd like to see a bit more contraction after this sharp move up here. So it's all about time, I guess. You can look at it. Accelerated move up through these highs at 23, spending some time just contracting. You want to see that base built potentially, more of this type of price action higher. If it can hold some higher lows and lower highs, you get to a point where it's going to break, and then just look for your setup. But I think in terms of that longer price action, which we like to see, which we've spoken about a few times, it's not really good. Let's just get a nicer color. You can see it's curving through here. All right, and that's the type of price action you want to see, and you want to come out the other end as it's starting to hold some high lows and building. Longer term, it's come off a really nice base around 8 to 10. If you can work it off this support level, that would be a nice little trade. Just looking for setups from there. All right, PGH. Let's quickly get onto that one. Does that make sense there, Bill? What I'm sort of looking at there, it's showing some good signs. You're probably at the right end of the move. If that makes sense. Rather than try to jump in on this side where you don't know, you haven't seen any clear evidence of some higher lows building before. Say in this zone here, you haven't got some clear evidence. There's no minor lower highs being broken. You have got this one through here. If you're looking at that, the setup wasn't there, and it did touch back down to that support. But we're coming out the other end. We're starting to attack those highs. You get that accelerated move up, maybe contraction, consolidation through here between 16 and 22. But it's showing some good signs. Keep an eye on that one. Actually, I'm going to write that one down. Thank you very much. All right, let's get on to, what was the other one? PGH. If you get into a weekly, that one's looking good. That's probably all the data too. That group. This is one we've had a few times. I think we might have traded this a few times. Look at that. Look at that price structure through here. That's, if you can see that, what I'm looking at, what I'm focused on there is really, really good. All right, let's just go to that weekly. Actually, there's a few things. There's some really nice things working off that. That's a nice one. On the weekly chart, if you're looking at, obviously, it's starting to get away. You can see these MAs are starting to expand. It's still holding some higher lows, still looking good, and potentially if that's a higher low there, we're buying in, we're going to be attacking 680. Now if it falls short and builds a lower high, purely because we're starting to get away from this support line, there's no reason why it can't keep going. You can see the stochastics too are starting to get in a good zone. It's rolling up. Not oversold as such as we push down, but showing some good signs. It's in a good zone. There's a lot of room to move. So if it's a nice strong leg up and we start to get overbought and extended, you'd expect it to have got through 680 and even up to 720, 730, 750, who knows. But it's longer term. Some really good signs. You can see some support through here. Minor consolidation broke out here. This price action through here is just really, really nice. You can see that price action there after that initial break through the highs at 520, holding higher lows, still holding that trend. You're working off this support with some higher lows. On a weekly, just glancing at the weekly, not a setup just in here, but a really nice setup, and you can see your risk. So 2 to 1, so somewhere around 580, 590. You got that fairly quickly on a weekly basis anyway. So really nice trade. And if you can hold that, building that higher low, another leg up, building the higher low. So you've had on a weekly 1 contraction, 2. We could be into our third move. It was quite a deep pullback though, so we could be in our third move back up. So definitely there's a lot of good signs working on that. Let's just draw it down to the daily. Yeah, look, I'm expecting, just glancing at this, I'd expect a bit of a bit more contraction. It has just popped up. You can see the MAs on the daily. It's just they're still down, which is the only minor concern. You can see just here, there's no reason why it can't go up. I'm not saying that. It's just I'd like to see a bit of contraction before I jump into there. Something like this, spend a few days, a few weeks just contracting, building some minor higher lows, and then you got that inside continuation. We call it trade. If we can just draw that in here, you can see that it's just pushed through there. That inside continuation below this, so you know you're going to be attacking these highs. You can limit your risk here. You've got to pop up, and you can just hold. Obviously, it's looking good. Even in here, there's another inside continuation trade, if that makes sense. Just higher lows are still holding on the daily. You've got to push up. We've had a big contraction lower. So as you get, one, this is one thing to keep an eye on. 1, 2, that's all part of the same move. I'll say it's 2 here, third leg up. When you get onto your third move high, if you're buying in here, you just got to be concerned that you're starting to get it extended in that leg and the overall weekly move. Because on the weekly basis, that's one leg. This is your, let's just draw it a different color. That's one leg up, leg number 2. So as you're buying in here, if you're buying in here, you're on your second leg up, you're starting to get extended on that second leg up. You know there's probably going to be, on a weekly basis, a bit of contraction, which you got that. So if that's the case now, what we're looking for is the third leg up on the weekly basis, but getting in nice and early on the daily, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? So I guess it's sort of like if you're drilling back to, you're going back to some charts off the weekly, just trying to see what's happening. And if you're coming out of a contraction zone on a weekly basis, your dailies, you're going to have a lot of room to move, you'd expect, on your daily. But if you've already made a bit of a move out of contraction into expansion on a weekly, and you're looking for a daily setup, just look to see where you are on the daily. So this is probably a good example. Looks great. Just go back to a weekly. Had a good strong leg up, bit of contraction through here, another strong leg up. So you're starting to get a bit extended, maybe on a weekly basis. Nothing to say we can't have another leg up through 680 and you keep going. But just probability-wise, if you're trading, just remember probabilities. Well, that's what I like to work off anyway. The lower probability trade, I tend to steer clear of it and go for something that's a bit higher probability, higher risk reward, and higher payouts. And you consistently do that, your stats are going to look good. But that's all we're trying to do, is just trying to manage risk, manage our setups, and just try to see where we are on, if you're fitting a probability scale to it as such, that's probably at the low end of probability of this extending higher. Nothing to say it can't. So if you're looking for a daily setup, again, you're starting to see a bit of, you see that the EMAs are rolled over in the daily, where it didn't here. You contracted a bit in here, the EMA is still held up, but the difference is you've got a deeper correction on the daily basis. It's just showing those initial signs of potentially running out of steam, maybe on the daily, even the weekly. Does that make sense there, guys? Well, let's just see where we are on our own stocks there. You can see that here's a nice little example of moving from, if you get back to the weekly, this is GXY, which we've had. It's come off a really good base here. It's had a good leg up on the weekly, but really no pullback on a weekly basis. First longer term contraction was lower. Drill it down, through here, through middle of the year. This is just an example. So we know, okay, there could be another good leg up in the weekly basis to take us up through those highs at 55. Let's go down to your daily. We've got a contraction lower, higher low held at 30. It's popped up, it's washed out these highs, only a minor. And this is that type of price structure which we said. Let's go on to a bigger chart. That's the type of price structure through here. High low building, so a pop up through here confirms that high low, confirms it's holding 30 cents, and we're trying to get in the initial stage of a leg up to test up towards 55. Fair enough, it's getting a bit extended up here at the moment, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. maybe take some off the table if it just struggles up here, or just lock in a break-even trade. But at the moment, it's still looking good. Some good signs. Nothing why it can't just extend. You can see way back here, got to overbought, but you got that, and that was say around. If you can see around here, so that at that point, this candle here was overbought. Okay, same type of scenario. Even the next few candles, but then it's had another few cents from 35 up to say 47. So still could be quite a bit in it, and a bit of a blowout up towards those highs at 50 to 55 would be fantastic. All right, anything else we want a quick look at? Aussie 200, 54.75. Do you want to, Michael? Did you want to have just a quick look at the 30-minute chart, or SCXJO daily? Let's just drill it. Let's get all the data. I like it on a weekly. I mean, it looks good. Still weekly. It can easily. It's got a lot of room to move on the top side. Held higher lows. Drill it down to a daily. We're at 54.75. We're right there now, are we? On a 30-minute. Okay. Popped up through 55. One down day. Popping back up. We've got an intraday. Yeah, you see it's compressing. You see the MA is compressing in on each other. Just remembering the daily. If the daily is starting to be a bit stretched into 55, and we just got that blowout of 55, you'd expect a deeper contraction. If you're intraday trading, I don't mind it too much. I mean, when you're remembering the daily charts, you're starting to get the probability of this continuing just popping higher is getting a bit low, considering how stretched it is from that 50-50. But you know, whether you take that as a bit of a still stretched up to here up at 50-50, just remembering that in the back of your head. But if you go into intraday, that there, yeah, I mean, definitely. Actually, just go down to a 5-minute chart. I mean, this is, you can see those lows holding through 54.75. Let's actually draw that up. It's not looking too bad. Just before we finish. Alright, so on a 30, you've got a double top up there. As expected, you've built that lower high, contracting back in, and that just there, I think that was yesterday, wasn't it? No, started today. Off a 5-minute chart, big washout to the downside. So that, you can see that washout down there on the open, and it's pushed back up. You know, holding higher lows through here, 54.65. So something through here has got potential to move, and you can see what I personally would like to see. You can see that the price structure is showing good signs on the 30-minute chart. It's just starting to break out of that downtrend, and that's probably quite some good contraction. Even if it is stretched on the daily, remember the daily, getting stretched, there's no reason why it can't pop up, make a lower high. Lower high could be right up here. So points wise, it's 2-to-1 risk reward. If you're just taking a breakout here and you're looking to potentially hold a stop under there, I don't mind that. Even if it is just going to make that lower high on the daily chart, you still could have 1-to-1, and you know, so not too bad at all. The only thing is, you can see that it's starting to get a bit stretched up to that's just above 75 on the, what was this? This is a 5-minute, starting to get a bit stretched. So if we've got our support here, that's our resistance. Forget about this downtrending line. We've, you know, pushed up off here, pulled back, retested it, made a minor lower high, retested it, and we're pushing up towards that zone up here. I don't mind seeing a break and then a bit of a pullback and a bit more compression and contraction in price and going, because that way it washes out that high. That could be, you know, just a bit of contraction, consolidation through here, hold that low, and then roll over again on the longer term. You don't know. But if we pop out, wash it out a bit, and then build that high low, could be nice. Just remember, it was starting to look a bit stretched anyway, but so a bit of work to do, but it's showing some good signs. It's in that zone at the very minimum. It had a good pullback off those highs at 555.20. Whether it continues on the daily basis and just pops through, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. All right, anything else, guys, just before we call it a day there? If not, thanks very much for joining in. It's been good. Good. It's always good just to have some feedback. So feel free to put anything in there if you disagree. It's always good. Um, I'll always like to see how other people are viewing it as well as say you seen how I view it. It's always good to get that feedback as well. Discuss different things, and people got some good ideas. I mean, you can't watch everything, so just in the chat there, just putting up some codes, things that you could be looking at. I may not have seen, like we had that one RVR today. I think I've looked at it previously. I haven't looked at it for a while. That's showing some good signs. So we're starting just something to put on the watch list for later to keep an eye on. It's always good to chat about. So yeah, it's great when you get involved in the chat. I enjoy it. I'm sure others do as well. But if there's nothing else to talk about, thanks very much. Good. Would join us again tomorrow. We'll send out another alert tomorrow on just what we're going to discuss tomorrow on charts. Even if you want to go through a few trades, someone wants to put in a trade just to analyze, I'm happy to put some of mine up as well. Go through a few trades just to show you what I was looking at. There's a lot of times a trade, especially on the SPY, when I have a bit of a play on that. You can get caught first trade generally, and it tends to make me focus, and the second trade could be nice. So it's always good just to analyze different things and what we're viewing, what we're looking at, and what I was thinking about when we're trading. So feel free to send through some charts if you want. If you're happy to discuss something like that, we can do that down the track. Otherwise, keep an eye out for the alert, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Thanks very much, guys, and speak to you tomorrow.